I'm standing above Hoover Dam, and the issue here is not what people expect. It's not Deadpool, and it's not Lake Mead going empty. It's one single number.
1,035 feet above sea level. If Lake Mead drops to that level, Hoover Dam could lose most of its power capacity people rely on. Not all of it, but enough to make a huge difference. Enough to raise costs. Enough to put stress on the power grid. And right now, Lake Mead is only about 10 feet above that line. So today, I'm going to show you the water around Lake Mead because I want to answer one simple question. How can Hoover Dam be in trouble when there's still this much water behind it? This is the same place. In 1983, Lake Mead was overfilling. Today, it's more than 180 feet lower. That loss of water wasn't overnight. It's been dropping slowly for almost 25 years. And that drop isn't just changing the view, it's changing how the Hoover Dam works. Because the next major line is not Deadpool, it's 1,035 feet above sea level. That's where Hoover Dam could lose most of its power capacity people are counting on.
Wow, wouldn't it have been cool to see the water going over that thing? That's insane.
Here are the numbers that matter for Hoover Dam. Full pool is 1,229 feet above sea level. Remember, reservoirs are measured at elevation above sea level. So, at 1,075 feet, Tier 1 shortages begin. At 1,050 feet, Tier 2 begins and the cuts get deeper. At 1,035 feet, Hoover Dam hits a power cliff. Then lower down is minimum power pool, and that's at 950 feet above sea level. Power is no longer able to be produced and the generators are shut down completely. And finally, the infamous dead pool is at 895 feet above sea level. Where no water is able to leave the dam, water is stuck here. But this is the part that a lot of people miss. We don't have to wait for Deadpool before the problem starts. Some of the problems are already showing up right now.
Okay, let's go over to Lake Mead.
First, the lake drops. Then the water cuts get worse. Then the boat ramps and marinas have to chase the shoreline. Then cities spend huge money protecting their water supply.
So we're starting here at Boulder Harbor, then you can see the bathtub ring up there on the cliffs, just like Lake Powell. Boulder Harbor used to be a spot where you could launch. It used to be a popular area, but now it's a dry launch ramp. All the way up there, and this looks like it's the extended launch ramp. Then you have all the way down here. Then Lake Mead is over there. I wanted to get a vantage point from up top of there, but I guess National Park Service doesn't want people over there. But that's okay, there's a hiking trail right over here. I really wonder when the last time the water was kissing the launch ramp over here. Obviously there's some growth in here, the tamarisk trees. Seems like anywhere you go in the Southwest, there's tamarisk trees everywhere. What was cool is Mojo Adventures, the other YouTuber that does the Lake Mead stuff, he did a before and after over here, which I thought was crazy. I got to admit, I'm more familiar with Lake Powell compared to Lake Mead. This is Sin City outdoor country, then this is Mojo Adventure country over here. But I thought I would come pay my respects. If I'm not mistaken, this is the second ramp they built when the water was dropping. The first ramp stops way over there. I guess that's how it just is. The National Park Service tries to extend it as much as they can, then they end up can't because of the topography. We'll walk through this tamarisk jungle, then try to get to the lake. I guess Boulder Harbor isn't too bad, but if you're carrying an ice chest on all this stuff, camping gear, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. Okay, now we're getting to some stuff. I guess the boozers are using it for their trash can. That's not cool, pack your stuff out. But metal everywhere, chains, concrete blocks for buoys. Some stuff over there too. Some scrap metal. Might have been a burnt down houseboat or what? Oh, it looks like a structure. Block for what? Buoys, hold the dock. But that looks like some infrastructure for a dock right there. Yeah, something. I'm not sure what that is. We'll get closer to the beach. It looks like there's some main channel buoys out there. Okay, there's the green buoy. Then the red one is over there. Looks like a big old crane coming out of the ground. Oop, don't want to push it over. Green buoy there, then the red one here. Obviously it's for boaters to know where the channel is. What do we got here? That looks like a mine. So it's a barrel filled with concrete, then has spikes coming out. Obviously it's like an anchor. Well, we made it to the water line. I think I misjudged the area over there. I would not drag anything this far. That would suck. Oh, nice. Some cinder block shoes. Surprised we haven't found a barrel yet. I may have spoke too soon. So here it is. This is the water line for Lake Mead as of July 1st, 2026. The lake is receding at this moment. Oh, what is that? Oh, that's the intake for Las Vegas. We'll go over there and check that out here in a minute. There's more of that metal infrastructure sticking out of the water there. That's a hazard. There's so many of those around the beach, I don't even know what those are. Someone has to know. I would be under 180 feet of water right here if the lake was full. It's really interesting that the lake's at this level because at Lake Powell, it's 170 feet below full pool. So that is a lot of water missing from these reservoirs. All right, let's see how close we can get to that intake.
Lake Mead was built to store the Colorado River water for the lower basin. The Colorado River was split in half back in 1922, which created the upper basin and the lower basin. That's millions of people across the southwestern United States.
I wonder what that is, and we got some vultures over there too, feasting on something. I know it's overhyped with those barrels, but this is Mobtown, USA, Las Vegas, back in its heyday. Damn, didn't want to carry it all the way back, huh? Because it's broken? That ain't cool. Don't want to disturb the turkey vultures, but I want to see what they're munching on. Nice. That looks like a fresh catch right there. That's a fish. Sorry guys, didn't mean to bother your breakfast. Saw this over here, caught my attention, then I found that. That is so cool right there. Oh, that is vintage. Pepsi Cola. Punch top, yes it is. You know, I say this every time, but I feel bad. There is a lot of trash out here and I should have brought trash bags. But it's okay. But for now, we're gonna climb up that guy and go to the top. And if you've been following my channel, you know how I do it. Let's just hope there's no rattlesnake problem at Lake Mead.
Southern Nevada depends heavily on Lake Mead, and Las Vegas has been anticipating a lower lake for years. The third straw, or Las Vegas's solution to the water problem. It was built because Southern Nevada Water Authority knew Lake Mead could keep dropping. So people say Las Vegas is about to run out of water. It's too simple.
Okay, I think we made it to full pool. Obvious calcium deposit here, then it's not. So this is probably the full pool marker. God, I'm dying, I'm sorry. If Lake Mead was full, my feet would be in the water right now. There is your perspective. Oh God, I'm sorry, I'm breathing hard. Lake Mead is the biggest reservoir in the United States. It has a huge surface area, it's insane. So a lot of water can be stored in this guy. And another perspective for you, those houses over there were built above the high water mark. So from them all the way down. All the water that's in Lake Mead right now was once in Lake Powell. Lake Powell is above the Grand Canyon and Lake Mead is below it. So all of this water was once in another reservoir. Based on public BOR data, Lake Powell's being held back and Lake Mead is taking the hit and going down. So if you've noticed, the water's slowly going down. We're almost at the top. And there it is right there, ladies and gentlemen. The intake. Looks like we got a jet skier interested in the intakes. Now we're up here, I'm gonna tell you right now, this isn't just about the shoreline, it's also about the water intake for Las Vegas. This is one of the most important pumps in Lake Mead and also the Colorado River. That's not in operation, I don't think. The first one is coming out right there, look. You could barely see it, I can't hike to it unfortunately, but that right there is Las Vegas's water intake. So everybody likes to talk about the third straw, which is actually underwater in a tunnel. Then it goes over into the main channel to deeper water. Then from there, Las Vegas can suck water even if Lake Mead hits dead pool. If I'm not mistaken, Las Vegas has made it to where even if Lake Mead hits a drier future, we can still pump water out of this thing. When people think of Las Vegas, they think of all the resources that city is taking up. But the main thing about Las Vegas is it's one of the most water conscious cities in the southwestern United States, which is crazy to think about because it's Sin City. But they are the role model in the United States for water conservation. The other cities, Phoenix, Denver, Tucson, they're not as good as Las Vegas. Las Vegas is the role model. So I think this is where a lot of people miss the information, is that Lake Mead is not just about a water access. The problem with Lake Mead is pressure. There's pressure going against the dam at Hoover, and that affects how much the turbines can spin. So the main point of the story is Hoover Dam needs pressure to spin those turbines. The entire Colorado River system is being pushed to its limits. It is unprecedented. We have never seen this before, but that's what unprecedented is. It's a learning experience. Hopefully we can learn and figure this out. Okay folks, enough of my rant. We're gonna hike back down. But there we go, you could see actually campers and recreators on the beach. What a stark view that is right there.
At first, a lower lake looks like a recreation problem. Then it becomes an infrastructure problem. Then it becomes a water problem. Then it becomes a power problem. This is the pattern at Lake Mead.
Well folks, here's a better POV. Lake Mead right there. Then the launch ramps right there. Obviously, you could tell that one is a newer one. That is the old one. They thought the lake would never get below that, or maybe they did.
A few feet here, a few feet there, and suddenly, one number starts to matter more than all the others. For Hoover Dam, that number is 1,035 feet above sea level.
Well, that ain't cool. Don't we already have enough heavy metals in these lakes? I've heard rumors that dock workers, instead of carrying them all the way back to their work trucks, they just throw them overboard. More cinder block shoes. We're almost back to the launch ramp. What does that say? No boats? No shit. Damn, you guys really love cinder blocks out here in them parts. All right, back to the car. So these are the famous signs that everybody films. I guess I'll join the party. Lake Mead waterline 2000. That's literally when the party started right here, was in 2000, 1999, 2000. That's when the lakes started dropping heavily, Lake Powell and Lake Mead. So from the 2010s, it's somewhat stabilized to a degree. Then in the 2020s, we finally dropped hard. But I guess we'll consider this crack waterline all the way down. Hemenway, then Lake Mead over here. Now we're at Hemenway Harbor. This is where you could really see where Lake Mead's changed. Everything out here has to adjust as the shoreline changes. Launch at your own risk. Water levels are low. Danger. So this is Lake Mead's main harbor right here, Hemenway. People have their boats all tied up. You have the island right there. Got some people recreating on a rocky beach. Then right over there is the Las Vegas intake where we were just at earlier. So you can see the differences in the ramp, old ramp, new ramp. This was probably done in what, 2022, 2023? So similar to Lake Powell, MPS has boiler plates. They put these plates down when the launch ramp over there actually gets into mud and sediment. This is where you can get traction and still launch boats. So obviously they haven't put these in yet, but we'll see for how long. Most likely as Lake Mead continues to drop, these are gonna be moved and put into the launch ramp. But this is Hemenway right here, all the way down to where it's at now. If you guys are new to my channel, I appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe. I mainly focus on Lake Powell, so maybe after this video you guys can check those out, but let's get back to the video. All right, but obviously Hemenway has to adapt. I wonder how much water is left under the marina over here. What's the depth? Is MPS gonna move it? Okay, let's head back to the Hoover Dam and talk about the main problem on hand.
For those unaware, Lake Mead isn't dropping by itself. It's tied directly to Lake Powell upstream. Powell sits above the Grand Canyon, Mead sits below it. Water released from Glen Canyon Dam eventually comes down towards Lake Mead. But in 2026, the Bureau of Reclamation reduced planned releases from Lake Powell. The original plan was to send about 7.48 million acre-feet of water. That was reduced to 6 million acre-feet. This helps protect Lake Powell and Glen Canyon Dam, which are also approaching critical elevations. But this puts more pressure on Lake Mead, and that's the hard trade-off. If more water is sent downstream, Lake Mead gets help, but Lake Powell gets weaker. If water is held back in Powell, Glen Canyon Dam gets more protection, but Lake Mead drops faster, and it's all a balancing act. This is the Colorado River's problem in one sentence. There is not enough water to protect everything at the same time.
How was that for a before and after, huh? Lake Mead before it existed. All water right there, all the way down. The biggest reservoir in the United States. It's crazy to think the water line would have been right there. Cool, now that we have that perspective, let's go back to Hoover Dam.
Hoover Dam has 17 commercial generators, and here's the part that surprised me. Not all of them are built to run safely when Lake Mead gets too low. Below about 1,035 feet above sea level, only 5 wide head turbines are expected to keep working in those lower water conditions. The other 12 units may have to stay offline. Not because the lake is dry, not because Hoover Dam has no water, but because running those units too low can damage the equipment. The problem is called cavitation. Cavitation is tiny bubbles that form inside fast-moving water. Then those bubbles collapse and create shock waves. Inside a turbine, that can chew into metal over time. So the dam may still have water, but the water may not move through the system in a safe way for most of the generators. Hoover's usable power capacity could fall from about 1,302 megawatts to about 382 megawatts. That's roughly 70% of loss in capacity.
So that's what makes this feel so different. This is not just a drought anymore. As one reservoir gets protected, another one takes a hit. One dam gets more breathing room, and another one hits a power cliff. So with these reservoir systems we have, every choice has a cost. So we don't just need water, we need enough pressure to push through and get to the generators. So when people say Hoover Dam can just shut off, it's not the case. It's more complicated than that. So here's the real story. Lake Mead is not empty, and Hoover Dam is not shutting down. And Deadpool is not the next major line to watch right now. The line to watch is 1,035 feet above sea level. That's because Hoover Dam could lose most of its power capacity. Lower lake and a weaker dam, an entire system being stretched to its limits. And the same question is hanging over the entire Southwest. What happens when the river keeps shrinking and everybody wants its share? And this is why I came to Hoover Dam, because the lake doesn't need to be empty to be in trouble. And in all reality, Hoover Dam may be one of the clearest warning signs on the Colorado River.
The bigger problem is still the river itself. Hotter temperatures, drier soil, weak snowpack, heavy demand, and a water system that's built during a wetter time. So even if Hoover gets better equipment, the Colorado River still needs a new plan, because the river is not waiting. Lake Mead is moving now. Lake Powell is moving now. And Hoover Dam is getting closer to one of the most important lines in the entire system.
All right, we're here on the Arizona Spillway at Hoover Dam, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you can like and subscribe. I'm going to show you everything with the Colorado River, what's been going on in 2026 with this drought. So this didn't happen overnight, remember, this has been ongoing for 20 plus years, but I'm going to show you every single spot, and I'm going to do my best to give you the facts. That's what I'm out here for, no BS. I'm going to show you what's going on. So like and subscribe, check out my other Lake Powell stuff if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed this one. Peace out.